waiting for the break of day.
Good morning. Happy Black Friday. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And I'm going to turn you up.
You're going to turn me up?
There you go.
Ooh.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So if you're up and listening this morning, it either means you're not on the West Coast or you've been out shopping.
So, you know, the craziness of Black Friday, I just don't get it. I've never understood this desire to get, you know, cheaper stuff that encourages people to go camp out overnight on the Thanksgiving holiday, right? And then, you know, to push and shove, and you always see these videos of people just behaving really badly in these stores. I don't get it. You know, what is materialism that strong of a motivator for these people?
Apparently, yes. Apparently, yes. That there's already been an issue this morning. A fight broke out in a Georgia mall that ended up with shots fired.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy,
now,
right?
Yeah. And honestly, as you said that, I'm thinking to myself, that's the real meaning of Black Friday. Death and devastation.
To
right?
buy stuff.
Yeah.
To buy stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, I'll be honest, I saw there were some really sweet deals out there. One of the ones that kind of jumped out at me is those 4G televisions, they're, you know, the massive ones, you know, 60-inch TVs. Are on sale for like $300 or $400.
Okay, but those are the kinds of deals that people really do assault one another over.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, as cool as that is, the idea of having that kind of a big, you know, home theater system thing, and it's now at a price range where, I remember when those things first came out, Aaron. I mean, you know, they were $3,000 or $4,000.
Yes,
and now they're down to $300 or $400. You know, it's ridiculous that they're practically giving them away. It seems like, but you know what? Next week, they're probably still going to be on sale, you know?
Yeah, well, except that in some places, they only sell a certain number like that, right? So just to get people through the doors, they'll have maybe 10 or 20, you know, that are at that price, or maybe 3 that are at that price. And those are the ones where you see people like squished up against the doors before the store opens. Then the store opens, and then they stampede to get the television set.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, it's weird. You go into the holiday season, and every year it kind of has its own different feel. And while I really hope this is a strong holiday season, I don't get the sense, or at least I haven't seen anything that has a special feel about it. Sometimes there's like these special toys or gadgets that everyone's talking about, you know, the must-haves. There's nothing I've heard that's sort of a must-have this year.
Except for the new iPad. But, you know, part of it, the reason, though, is that, Tobin, you and I don't have little kids.
It's true.
And so the things that, and I never understood this, there'd be like a toy of the toy of the Christmas season that people would do whatever they had to do to get for their kid. And if you're around kids for any period of time, you know that they'll play with that toy for, you know, maybe a few days, maybe a week.
Yeah.
And then it just goes in the bin with all the rest of them. And you've killed yourself to try to get that toy for your kid. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I remember this with Cabbage Patch dolls.
Those were the worst.
Like way back in the day when people, and then Beanie Babies, where people were just going nuts to buy these things. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Yes. And it wasn't just that they wanted to get one, but they wanted to get the right one, right? There were certain ones that were limited, like really limited, really hard to find. You know, and people were paying hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, especially once the internet came around, trying to find them, you know, to get them. Oh, you know, hold it for me. I'll, you know, and employees got fired because they were stealing them themselves, or that they were holding them for employees, holding them for customers and getting bribes for holding it. You know, I mean, all kinds of weird stuff happened. A whole new economy developed around these crazy toys.
Well, and apparently for people who have held on to their Beanie Babies and kept them in good shape, there are a few now that are worth some money.
Yeah.
And all of this was manufactured. You know, it's just a beanbag toy, but that they were cute or whatever, and they marketed them as if there was some scarcity involved, and oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like these things had some intrinsic value. They don't, although apparently some do. But I don't understand. I don't get it.
Our niece had a Beanie Baby, not a Beanie Baby, a Cabbage Patch doll that was very special. It had very deep intrinsic value.
Okay, but that was different. That was a little girl and her baby doll.
Yeah.
and she carried that baby doll. She probably still has it.
Yeah.
But when she was little, she got a Cabbage Patch doll, and I think she must have been like 1.
Yeah, and it was Misty something.
Misty B.
Misty B. Yeah.
And she loved that baby doll. She nurtured that baby doll. That's a different story. That's a little girl loving her doll. That's not adults killing themselves to buy something they're going to keep in a box forever.
No. This is true.
I'm just saying.
This is true.
I'm just saying. So,
but even though we don't have little kids, though, I don't know. I just haven't seen anything on TV or on the internet that's like blowing up. It's like everyone's, got to get this, got to get this. It just doesn't feel like that kind of Christmas, And I wonder what the numbers will be like, I mean, the economy still seems to be chugging along, when I've been out shopping, the stores seem to be filled with people,
I think that this is going to be a good season.
Yeah.
I think people want to buy. People want to feel, with all of the craziness in the political realm and, all this constantly negative news. That's what CNN stands for. Our own Marissa Pay calls it CNN, constantly negative news. I say our own. Marissa Pay has been on KCAA for many years. I think people are looking to connect with their families. I think people are looking to gather around the hearth and feel like something more important than what Ivanka Trump had for breakfast is out there for them.
Yeah, well, and honestly, the constantly negative news seems to constantly overlook the fact that the economy is actually kind of humming along at a pretty good pace right now.
It's been a roller coaster the last couple of months, but yeah you're right.
Yeah, you know, and that makes people feel better. I've heard of a lot of folks who got raises at their job this last year. The employment rate is high. Most people that are out there looking for jobs find them fairly quickly, and so all of that kind of stuff creates an environment where people feel more confident to go out and shop and do stuff.
Yeah. Well, last night, so at our Thanksgiving table, and we had lots of extended family that were with us. We actually played the game Vertellus, I think.
Yeah.
This is you've seen, if you've been on Facebook, you've probably seen the ads for it. It is a game design. I say it's a game. It is I'll call
conversation starter.
It's a conversation starter. And there are different, I bought the first kit. There are different kits that actually you can make it a game, but I haven't bought those. And the whole idea is it asks questions about the last year and what did you regret and what was, what did you learn and what was your favorite, what made you laugh, what was your favorite memory and all this stuff. And there's a whole like stack of cards that come with it. And I think everybody was they weren't quite sure what to expect. Oh yeah, we got to do that. Okay. But once we started, it was awesome.
Yeah. But it's the kind of game though you really have to play with people you feel real comfortable with because, there's some questions where, you're going to get the superficial answer because maybe you don't want to open yourself up to that particular group of people, So if they're people that you know and love and trust, then I think you can get some really interesting and deep conversations.
Well, and the idea I think is that they marketed it for the Thanksgiving table, and I'm sure they're going to keep marketing it for Christmas. I think the idea is that you're around very close friends and family.
Yeah.
I mean, you certainly don't want to throw your pearls after swine.
Yeah.
Or before swine. But around your close family, then you feel safe to say, hey, this was hard for me, or hey, I didn't do this right. Because one of them they ask you is, what was your greatest mistake? And so we had to look back and say, oh, what was my mistake? And for some of us, like for me, it was right there. Yeah, it was right there.
and my problem was I had made so many mistakes, I couldn't just pick one. And so then you start the list, and by the time you get about halfway through the list, the whole table is like snoring. They're like, geez, Toby, we know you made all those mistakes.
That is so not what happened last night. That is so not what happened last night. But so we started out the day, or you started out the day, with the turkey trot in San Bernardino. And apparently, turkey trots have become super popular.
They are. They're like the #1 race for people around the country now. And, it's that one day where people feel like, hey, if I go out and run, then I'll feel better when I sit down to eat that big meal.
Exactly.
And there were a ton of people there, lots of families, which I love to see. And people of all different ability ranges. And so you saw the competitive runners who were out there, and there were quite a few, And I'm not one of those competitive runners. I'm very slow, but I have some friends that are kind of competitive. And so it was interesting to see them, and they stick around at the very end to see who gets the medals and the placings and all that. And but then you see the families where they're mostly just sort of walking the distance.
Were there any people dressed as turkeys?
There were. Oh my God, the costumes were great. So a lot of people had these hats with like a turkey on the hat, so like a turkey on your head. But I think my favorite was a guy who had one of those blow-up costumes, where the costume was a blow-up turkey, and he looked like he was riding on top of the turkey. Right? So his legs went through it. So his legs looked like the turkey legs. And he ran that way.
So that's one of the things. So I don't like those road races. That's not my thing. But
yeah.
The 5Ks are entertaining because that's when the people who would show up in costume generally come.
Yeah.
The longer distances you get the serious runners, and they just want the gear that works best for them.
Yeah.
But when you're in a 5K, people wear tutus and costumes, and
there were tutus,
and they have the little dogs, and they get dressed up, and
dogs,
and the kids come out, and it's just fun. It's fun to watch.
It was definitely fun, and I think 5K, this particular kind of race. Because there was actually so many different turkey trots going on yesterday in the area. There was a good amount of people that were running, probably 500 or so, but it wasn't like some of these races where it was so crowded that you felt like, oh my God, people are going to step on me, or
So the Redlands Daily Fax has an article with such a great picture, and I got to give a shout out to Jennifer Capuccio Maher from the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin. She took this picture, and it shows this wall of kids behind a guy dressed up as a turkey, and then the adults are behind the kids. And I love to see the kids out there doing that with their parents.
Yeah, right. And my co-coach for my middle school running team, she went out with her family, her husband, and her two little ones. And it was the first time for her son to run with the family. And it's such a cute family, right? And they had a lot of fun out there. And I saw a lot of other families like that. And I just think that's cool. I wish I'd gotten into running when our kids were little. I think it would have been fun to have taken the whole family out and
okay, think about that.
And done a little bit of that.
I think our daughter would have gotten into it.
I think our son would have walked it. I think he would have done it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. He didn't like that kind of stuff when he was younger.
I don't know, Aaron. I feel like I would have to, push him a little bit. He's gotten very much into physical fitness now.
Oh, he looks great.
He does. I mean, it's funny how sometimes different ages, the values that you have or the things that are important to you shift, and his health has become very important to him. And he's made a whole bunch of complete lifestyle changes in the last couple of years, and much to his credit. I mean, he looks great. He feels. You talk to him. He says he feels great. And he has a certain level of confidence and pride, and I'm excited for him because for me some of that came even much later, 45 versus in the 20s.
So I want to talk about, and Tobin, I'll send this to you, and we're going to blow through the first break.
We are.
So the Black Friday deals. There's a lot of great Black Friday deals online, and I know Monday is Cyber Monday, but you don't have to wait till Monday. And honestly, it's kind of rotten you have 4 days off and you wait till you're back at work to go shopping, when you like to use your company's time. I'm just saying, I mean, at lunch, whatever, but I that always bothered me.
Yeah.
That people did that. So, shop those online deals early. NBC's Today Show has a list of some great online deals. Lenovo, there's a Lenovo IdeaPad 710S Plus touchscreen for $761. That's a full laptop, and it's a laptop. Normally $1,158. So this Lenovo $762 on Amazon. It's a pretty good deal. A Google Pixel, which is normally it's $899 on Amazon. It's normally $1,199. A Pixelbook, which is like their answer to the MacBook. An Apple MacBook Air, which is normally $1,000. Best Buy has it for $800.
Wow.
Which is really great.
Yeah.
An Xbox One Minecraft Creators Bundle, which is normally $300. They've got it for $199. So $200 at Walmart.
Yeah. $100 off. That's a good deal.
That's a good deal. The Apple iPad 32 gigabyte 6th generation, normally $339. Amazon has it for $259 online. All right. Then a Fire Stick with Alexa voice remote, $25. Which normally $40. It's $25.
Those are cool because they turn your TV into a smart TV, right? You can now download and use all the online Amazon stuff, which is kind of cool.
It is cool. Yeah, it's really cool. And then so what you do is you can then cast from your phone, right?
Yeah.
So you have the app on your phone, and instead of having to see something on a small screen, you can see it on a bigger screen, whatever size your television is.
Yes.
Which is very cool. Now, this is cool. The Samsung 55-inch Class 4K Smart LED TV is normally $700. Walmart has it for $398. And again, these are online deals.
These are the ones that I saw, right? That I knew, okay, this is the one that kind of low-key got me like excited. I'm thinking, that's a really good price, right? I could see people getting excited about that, to get the big screen, smart TV, flat screen.
That's a big TV.
Yeah, if you couldn't afford it before, it's now probably, for a lot of folks, it's now within reach. You're like, oh, I can afford that.
So
right?
A Belkin wireless charging pad, which is like if you have the later generation iPad or iPhones, and I think iPads too, so like I think a 7 and an 8 or a 10, then you can do wireless charging. And normally it's $60. Amazon has it for $30. And of course it's Belkin, not Apple, but it's still $30.
Yeah.
So the Amazon Echo Smart Speaker is normally $100. Right now Amazon has it for $69. Which is a good deal. The little Echo Dot, Amazon has that one for $24. Sony noise canceling wireless Bluetooth headphones with a microphone, normally $350. Now they've got it. Amazon has it down to $198.
That's a really good deal.
That's a really good deal, especially if you find yourself working in coffee shops, for example, which tend to be super loud, or if you find yourself, traveling, you're on a train, or you're, taking airplanes or whatever, and you need those noise canceling headphones, this is a great price.
Yeah. We had those noise, well, I guess ours weren't noise canceling per se, but we had the headphones that we use for when we were traveling and we needed to do our show. And I thought it was a great deal to have. I love those headphones. It's a very cool app. Another item that they have here is the Dyson V6 Origin cord-free vacuum. It's for $159 today, or for Black Friday. Normally $200, and this is at Walmart. And those Dysons are pretty cool. They also have a Vic Teasing Cool Mist humidifier, $37, regularly $60 at Amazon. I think this is one Aaron's going to want.
What's
they
that?
Have a 10-inch firm gel memory foam mattress that is normally $2,330 from Wayfair. They're selling it for $267.
Shut the front door.
It's like 90% off.
Oh my
Outerwind
gosh!
Foam 10-inch firm gel memory foam mattress.
That's got to be for the smaller size. It doesn't say what size that is, does it?
It doesn't, but the picture looks like a king.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, but you're right. It's probably like a little bed for like a little baby. It's like
probably a twin or a full or a queen.
But still, that's an amazing deal.
That is an amazing deal on. By the way, I love Wayfair. We've bought stuff from Wayfair, and
you shop at Wayfair quite a bit.
We have rugs and window treatments and that kind of stuff. So therapeutic classic comfort pillow from Bed Bath & Beyond. It's normally $40. They have it 50% off at $20.
I was surprised at how expensive pillows can be, because we have some really old pillows that we both kind of love, because they're totally like, we've got them to the shape and the size and whatever we want, but they're kind of falling apart, and it's time to get new pillows. But then you go look at the price, you're like, I don't want to spend $80 for a pillow.
Right? Yeah. And some of them are more than that.
Yeah.
And they are very expensive. So this is good. This therapeutic classic comfort pillow at Bed Bath & Beyond is $20.
Yep. Oh, Aaron, I skipped down a couple here. Here's one we absolutely need. It's the Bob Sweep Pet Hair Robotic Vacuum. They're on sale for $190, normally $669.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have 2 dogs and 3 cats. We have a little problem with pet fur.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, the cats are, one cat in particular is so obvious because he's a white cat, and so you can see his fur on everything. But the other 2 also are shedding quite a bit. And to have something that just kind of rolled around your house all day cleaning up the pet fur, Oh, that would be nice.
That would freak the cats out.
Oh, I know it would. We get some great cat videos out of that one.
So the Amazon has the Instant Pot. So the Instapot, the 6-quart, the 7-in-1 multi-use programmable pressure cooker for $59.
That's a good deal.
That's that's a really good deal. Or the K Classic single serve K Cup Pod coffee maker at Wayfair is $80. It's normally $120.
So I actually been thinking that we maybe need to get one of those K-Cup ones for you because, when our daughter lived at home, the two of you both drank coffee and you would make a pot and kind of share it between the two of you. I'm not a coffee drinker, but you still like coffee. And
I do.
To have something that could just do that single serve really quick coffee, I think has a real appeal when you just have a single coffee drinker in the house.
Yes, I would agree with you. Yeah. Although, frankly, in the morning, I don't get up and make coffee in the morning.
No.
And
but if you had something that literally took like 2 minutes while you were getting dressed or whatever,
then it's fine. Yeah. But something that here's something that from Sur la Table, Sur la Table, I guess. I'm not French. The Wusthof Classic 6-piece knife block set, which is normally $508, they have for $199.
By the way, that one's been endorsed by several different serial killers. The preferred knife.
Really, Tobin?
Just kidding.
I thought you were going to say chef. I'm like, really? How'd you know? But now here's one that we've been talking about. The Oster Express Bake Bread Maker with gluten-free setting.
Okay. So we want to get into making bread. We've been watching this baking show on TV. We've fallen in love with the Greatest British Baking Show. But this is kind of cheating.
No, it's not.
With these bread makers.
Okay, but I don't want to be a pastry chef. I want good bread.
You just dump the stuff in and push a button on
this. Yeah, but
one.
we had one before. We used it and used it and used it until it finally broke.
It's true, we did. But I'm just saying that, you want to get your hands in there. You want to knead the dough.
Is that what I want to do?
You want to feel it, and you want to know that the gluten is getting enough oxygen and that the yeast is expanding.
Oh, please.
You want to love the bread, Aaron.
Is that what I want to do? Okay, so for people who want this, the Oster Expressible Bread Maker with gluten-free setting, it's $55 on Amazon.
That's a sweet deal.
It's a sweet deal.
Yeah.
It's a very sweet deal.
Yeah, if you like bread, that's a good one.
So this was all on today.com, and they go into clothing and shoes and all kinds of stuff, some great online deals.
Got a ton of watches on here.
Yeah, people are wearing watches again. They're tired of having to haul out their phones every time they want to take the time. They look at the time. All right, so with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
California headline news. The National Weather Service is predicting 1 to 3 inches of rain will fall between now and Sunday in some areas destroyed by the camp-fire. Meanwhile, the number of dead in Paradise from that fire now stands at 84. Cadaver dogs are being used to search for remains. Susan Purvis has written a book called Go Find about the process of using dogs.
The minute we stop breathing, we put off a different odor, say, than live scent. And so we are training the dog to smell decomposed human remains.
The dogs in Paradise have to smell through smoke for tiny amounts of human remains. An expectant Southern California mother is looking for a miracle. Shortly after Susie Rabaka learned she was pregnant with twins, she was diagnosed with leukemia and needs a bone marrow donor to save her life. Her heritage is making the search for a donor difficult. Julie Korinke of Be The Match says even with 30 million people in the registry, no one is a match.
In order for a blood stem cell transplant to work, you need to find a match who has similar DNA and ancestry to you.
Steve Clausen, California News.
Smart is scoring massive Black Friday discounts on Blink security cameras. Brilliant is getting your Blink cameras now to help protect your home and family through the holidays when burglary rates spike. Blink indoor and outdoor security cameras are motion activated. When they detect someone sneaking around your yard or testing doors or windows, you get an alert on your Blink smartphone app with an HD video clip of what Blink saw. And when you travel over the holidays, Blink's live feed option lets you check in and monitor your home, pets, and holiday package deliveries from anywhere. Blink wire-free cameras set up fast and run on long-lasting AA batteries. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. It's Blink's behemoth Black Friday Cyber Monday event. Score the biggest savings of the season now through Monday.
Visit blinkprotect.com/radio. That's blinkprotect.com/radio, or go to amazon.com and search Blink Security. Blink is an Amazon company.
California headline news. Millions of Californians are flocking to shopping malls today as they hope to score the best deals of the holiday season.
It's time for traffic on KCAA and KQLH. I'm Erin Brinker. It actually looks completely clear out there, but it is chilly, so, there might be some ice in some areas, especially at elevation. This has been your traffic report on KCAA and KQLH. We are the stations that leave no listener behind. This report is brought to you by the TJ Martell Foundation. The TJ Martell Foundation Music Promise for a Cure. To learn more, visit tjmartell.org. That's tjmartell.org. I'm Erin Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Alvin Washington. Sunny this morning, a high of 67. Partly cloudy this evening, low 52. Sunshine on Saturday, high 69. Clear Saturday night, low 54. Sunshine Sunday. I'm Alvin Washington, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California. KCAA 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and the Legacy 1050 AM Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Drivers, when it's time to visit the DMV, avoid the long lines and save time by calling toll-free 833-DMV-LINE. That's 833-DMV-5463. KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 FM 106.5 and FM 102.3. So we're having just an easy peasy Friday morning on this holiday weekend. Thanksgiving Day could not have been more beautiful.
Right.
It was so nice outside.
The weather was perfect. Some people freaked out with the rain, though. Californians always freak out with the rain.
Because we never get any. And so when we get any, if it's like, what is this wet stuff falling from the sky?
Well, I loved it. When I went out to do my turkey trot, the ground was a little wet, but we didn't really get rained on. And it was just cool and really just nice. But I know some friends who said they, had quite a bit of rain. And so it's just weird how it kind of hits one spot and misses another. But, yeah.
So on to some local news. The city of Riverside is asking residents, they've set up a website to educate the community on city efforts to address its unfunded pension liability and to seek input from the public. The projected cost of providing retirement benefits for current and future retirees is, are you sitting? $531.6 million more than the resources the city has to pay it. So it's not only that 536 is the overage, not the total that's due.
Yeah. I've been talking about pensions for a long time, and I cannot even begin to tell you how happy and how proud I am of the city of Riverside for addressing the issue so forthrightly and honestly and transparently. When I was on the San Bernardino City Council, in the 2 years prior to the city going bankrupt, I began to ask questions, first privately behind the scenes, and as it became clear that this was a serious issue, I began to ask for a public presentation from staff about this issue. And I brought it up for a vote twice and was voted down twice. Because nobody wanted to make this an issue, particularly going into an election. And I just was absolutely floored because, the city was very clearly headed towards bankruptcy, and the things that we were doing weren't working. And I wanted the open, honest discussion. And
you were called an
what
idiot.
I got was attacked viciously.
Yes. You were called an idiot. You were said that you were naive, and that you were, because you even brought it up, that if you were smart, you would have, done the same thing everybody else was doing, was stick your head in the sand, and certainly not tell any people about it, so that you could get reelected. And you're like, no, wait a minute here. I was hired to do a job. I'm doing the job, and
and elections are one of the few times when people are really paying attention.
Yes.
And so I think this is fascinating that they're doing this in Riverside, and it got me to thinking about what kinds of suggestions that people might give. Right, and there's really sort of two trains of thoughts on this. One is the extreme where people say, just get rid of their pensions, right, which I think is ridiculous. It's not going to happen. And then, of course, the other extreme is, the union position, which is, well, the communities just need to step up and pay, right? Taxes will need to go up, and they'll just need to pay because they've made these promises. And I think that's equally untenable.
They have not made these promises. I'm sorry, but the voters, have not made these promises. The way our government, our local governments are set up is that the unions, who benefit directly, are spend money on the political campaigns, so that essentially the unions have both sides of the table.
Yeah.
Who's not there is the voter.
Yeah. So the fact that this is going on in Riverside tells me that the voter is there, right? The voter is there in Riverside. This is a unique situation. We don't see this happening in other places. And so the question is where do you find some middle ground? And I think the middle ground is that the voters, you have to go to the voters. This is not something the council can just decide on their own. You have to go to the voters and say, look, we need additional revenue to pay for this, so there's going to be a tax component. But here's what we're going to get if the tax passes. They're going to change the how long that they work. So instead of being able to retire at 50 years old, it'll go up to 55 or 60 or whatever you've agreed upon, right? So the retirement age will have to go up before they can get the benefit.
But how does this, because all of this is collectively bargained,
yes,
and you're not allowed to make promises before an agreement is made, right? I mean, so
no.
How is that going to work?
Well, the way I would formulate it is that if these conditions are met, then the tax goes into effect, right? So then you go to the bargaining table and that they don't get the revenue to cover the cost of their pensions unless they come to the table and are willing to agree to these conditions, right?
Yeah.
So the voters basically are creating a giant carrot that says, hey, we are willing to provide money for your pensions if you will do these things. And there's a wide variety of options of different ways of addressing the pensions. And I mentioned retirement age is one. That's a fairly easy one. And you can phase that in. It doesn't, people who are close to retirement, you don't say to them, oh, now you have to wait another 10 years. It gets phased in so that the people are within 5 years of retiring or whatever, that doesn't affect them. They can still retire under the old system or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to structure that. Second one is to actually just go with the formula, right? So there's a formula for retirement. The one that we always talk about is 3% at 50, so that for every year that you work, you get 3% of your pay towards your retirement. So if you worked 30 years, 30 times 3 is 90% of your pay,
which is insane
at the end of your retirement. So you retire after 30 years with 90% pay. So maybe you change that to 2.5% at 35, or so you can change the formula. Say, well, you got to work 35 years, and instead of getting you 3%, you get 2.5. I don't know. But you can play with the formula, right? That's the second one. And there are other options as well.
Well, and what there are very few. I don't know that there are any corporations that have pensions anymore. They had 401ks, and other retirement vehicles, but that were defined contribution and not defined benefit. So instead of saying, okay, you're guaranteed this amount of money, these all at the end of your career, they say, okay, we'll match whatever you put into your own retirement up to a certain point, and then there's a vesting after so many years.
Yeah. So what you're guaranteed is that they will make a certain level of contribution, but not necessarily you'll get a certain amount at the end of it, because the stock market fluctuates, and sometimes some people retire and there's a lot of money there because they retired at the good time, And sometimes people retire at a bad time, and they can't retire because the stock market crashed. They have to, put more money in to get to a level that's sustainable.
But I think the capacity for the average citizen to work until they're dead, so that a public employee can get 3% at 50. I think the capacity to stand for that is gone. I think people are resentful.
Yeah. So here's the bigger issue, and I raised this when I posted about it online. This issue is bigger than just the city of Riverside. So let's say Riverside actually makes some changes. Well, Riverside is competing for public employees with San Bernardino and with Moreno Valley and with all these other cities around them, Corona. And if they don't offer competitive pay and benefits because they've now said we're going to, change the formula or change retirement age, they may have a harder time recruiting people, right? And so what really needs to happen, in a minimum, it needs to be a regional approach. So you need to say all of Riverside County is going to adopt this new process for how we handle pensions so that it's a fairly level playing field. Or it needs to be handled as statewide, which is really the honest-to-God right way to do it, so that the whole state is a fair level playing field. But nobody wants to touch this because the unions have such an ironclad grip on some of these elected officials.
So maybe the public information campaign needs to flip it on its head. So you show that yes, we have lower. The contrast is what you're getting over here. Over there, they're going to go bankrupt because it's unsustainable.
Yeah.
So you can have security here.
Yeah.
Or
because ours are paid for.
What was it? Yeah, ours are paid for. Or you could go over there and they're promising you a lot, but the likelihood is they can't deliver.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, that's what happened in San Bernardino, is that they weren't going to be able to deliver, right? And so they went through bankruptcy, and a lot of the stuff did get kind of restructured, and that was a very hard time for all those public employees that worked in San Bernardino, right?
Well, it certainly changed their take-home pay.
Yeah.
And because nobody had the courage to phase any of these changes in, when the bankruptcy court did it, it was much more severe, and the fire department was outsourced entirely.
Yeah. And that's the really the sad part of all this, is because when I actually started talking about this, I looked for the most generous way of dealing with it in terms of how to handle all these employees. And so I found the example of what San Francisco had done. And this always shocks me that San Francisco was a leader on the pension issue, but they actually were able to, through political coercion, as well as through just good bargaining at the table, were able to come up with a plan that had a whole bunch of tiers for how they would handle this, and it was based on your pay. So somebody who made very, very little at the bottom, basically their pensions were not going to be touched, right? They weren't going to have to pay a bunch of extra money because they don't have a lot of extra money.
Right.
They're making very little. But the people at the top of the pile, the people that are making six-figure salaries, right, they were going to have to pay a much larger chunk because they can afford it. Right. And so they basically created this system that was very progressive, and it worked, and it was very, I think, a fair system. And so I was trying to suggest something similar for San Bernardino just to get the discussion started, and my words got twisted, and I got called all kinds of names because nobody wanted to have that conversation. Nobody had the political will to stand up and say this is a real problem.
Well, let's be honest. No one had the cojones.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just said, "Oh, it's fine, it's fine." I think one of your colleagues said, sometimes it's okay to use the credit card, and it was like, "No, you don't this isn't magic, folks. This is math."
I got accused of lying about how bad the city's finances were and fear mongering, and then 6 months after I lost my election, when the city went bankrupt, all the people who had bought into the whole, Tobin's just fear-mongering and lying to us, suddenly came to me and were like, "Oh my God, how did you know?"
Because I can add.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, exactly. This wasn't rocket science, right? I mean, it was very clear where we were headed, and nobody else wanted to talk about it. They were just interested in their own sort of political skin. And of course, the end result of that was a bunch of them got recalled, and several of them went to jail, not because of the pension issue, because of other crazy stuff they were doing. But they met their own reckoning, right? They met their own reckoning.
So good on the city of Riverside for wanting to engage the public and having the courage the courage to have these conversations, because it's tough. When you think about, retirement, and then the money that you thought was going to be there is not actually there, that's terrifying, because it's not like you, when you're at retirement age, have a lot of options, right?
No, the older you get, the fewer options you're going to have. So you want to make sure they get this stuff right.
So Riverside's Budget Engagement Commission will receive a report on unfunded pension obligations beginning at 5 p.m. on Thursday, November 29th at the Mayor's Ceremonial Room at the Riverside City Hall at 3900 Main Street. City Council will hold a workshop on the issue at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, December 4th in the City Council chambers at City Hall. So if you want to be engaged in the process, that's where you need to go. If you want more information, this article is compliments of Ryan Hagan. I say compliments. Ryan Hagan wrote this piece for the Press Enterprise. And with that, let's take a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a full or part-time sales position and you have radio, TV, or print media experience, KCAA has a great opportunity waiting for you that pays the highest commissions in the market. KCAA is the only station in the IE that broadcasts on 3 frequencies, so advertisers receive 3 ads for 1 low rate. This makes KCAA a must-buy for every local business. If you're interested in a sales position with us, email CEO@KCAAradio.com. Hi, folks. If you're still paying for electricity every month, it means you haven't signed up for the Inland Empire's #1 money savings program offered by Horizon Solar Power. Just call to qualify your home, and Horizon will give you $100 plus pay your electric bill until 2020. It's that simple. Call, qualify, get $100 and no electric bill payments until 2020. So keep your money in your pocket and become energy independent today. Call 844-711-6996. That's 844-711-6996. Or click on one of our Stay Cool ads at KCAAradio.com.
Looking for a new place to eat, delicious food at a great value? The Tri-City Center in Redlands is proud to announce the grand opening of a fine new dining establishment. Terry's Diner, at the former location of the Spunky Steer in Redlands, is officially open for business daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. with delicious, mouth-watering breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Treat yourself to Terry's tasty dessert menu, such as Terry's famous sundaes, banana splits, hot fudge cake, old-fashioned root beer floats, frosties, cakes, and pies, too. You'll find weekly lunch and dinner specials all under $10, including Angus steaks, burgers, Greek salads, pasta seafoods with wine and beer. Terry's brings years of tasty temptations from DJs in San Bernardino and Alta Loma. Join a new tradition in Redlands. Stop by at 1350 Industrial Park Avenue between Tennessee and Alabama in the Tri-City Center. Google Terry's Diner Redlands on Yelp or find them terrysdinerredlands.com.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is home to some of the best bargain shopping in the region. Citywear, Style for Less, and Dollar Tree, to name just a few. Friendly shop owners and staff are waiting for you to stop in for the many specials and bargains they're excited to share. The Tri-City Shopping Center is located just off I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Make it your home for all your shopping needs, and you'll know why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart. Listen to KCAA Loma Linda for less confrontation and more information.
She floats like a swan, grace on the water, lips like sugar, lips like sugar.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So, do you know that there's some dogs that flunk out of their service dog training?
I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently it's possible. And for many of them, they flunk out because they're just too nice. Because service dogs, you know, when they're training a service dog, there's a sign on a I don't know, a coat that the dog wears, a covering that the dog wears that says, please don't pet me, I'm working.
Yes.
When they're in training and also when they're working. And a service dog has to be able to focus on their job. Whereas, the dogs that just, wag their entire backside and want you to love them.
Yes.
They're probably not the best service dogs. And so there's a group called Freedom Service Dogs of America that will help those dogs find homes.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
So you flunked out because you're too friendly, too kind, too nice, and now you can get a home.
Now you can get a home. And a family gets a well-trained dog. I mean, even if they weren't ready to be a service dog, they're a well-trained dog. So I'm looking at the pictures, and these dogs are so stinking cute, little puppies. There's something simultaneously adorable, and this is from Insider.com, or this is Insider.com. There's something simultaneously adorable and heartbreaking about a service dog who fails training. While many service dogs do graduate and go on to successful careers, there are a number of reasons they can be dropped from the program, including nervousness, lack of drive, and a personality that doesn't fit the gig. For some reason, the reason for failure is even having to be they're just too nice.
So they even have in this article, Aaron, that the TSA has an adoption program for its drug-sniffing dogs that didn't quite make it to graduation. So you got a dog that's maybe a little nose blind, right? Maybe sniffed one too many cocaine packets and needs a soft place to land. You know what I mean?
And you can totally apply for one of those dogs.
And they're good breeds: German Shorthair Pointers, Labrador Retrievers, German Shepherds, Belgian
Malinois. Those dogs are incredible.
Yeah, they're smart.
And those are the dogs that can climb a wall. I'm not even kidding.
Yes.
They get a running start, they'll climb up a wall or a tree or whatever. They make great police dogs. They're super smart. And a friend of ours has half Malinois, half Doberman Pinscher.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
That's Shannon's. That's
really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I didn't. Okay.
Zoe is that kind of dog.
I did not know that.
Super smart dogs.
I could see the Pinscher. I didn't realize that was a Malinois mix.
Malinois. The Belgian German Shepherds.
My
Did you know that
is not as good as it used to be. My French.
Like French fries?
Yes.
Okay, for those of you who did not understand that reference, go watch the movie Better Off Dead. It's a great Christmas movie. It is absolutely hilarious.
Yes, and one of the families in the movie gets a French exchange student,
and they're the quintessential ugly American family.
Yes, and they have no knowledge of France, and so they just say and do the weirdest things.
It is a John Cusack movie from the 80s. It's like a high school movie, but as an adult, you'll enjoy it.
You'll chuckle.
Back to the dogs.
Yes.
So for the TSA, the Canine Adoption Program, you must have a fenced yard at the time of applying. There should be no intentions of moving within 6 months after adopting the dog. Homes must abide by all local pet ordinances. You must agree to provide the dog with appropriate medical care, exercise training, and companionship. All existing pets in the home must have current vaccinations and preventative care, and the age of children in the home will be taken into consideration when selecting a dog. So,
yes.
They probably don't want an infant.
Yes.
And
if it's a TSA drug sniffing dog, you probably shouldn't be hiding drugs around the house.
Probably not.
That's the dog is going to have, it's going to be like flashbacks to when it was working and be like, that's not the retirement I was thinking of. So just don't do it.
So if you're approved, the applicants then have to go to the Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, San Antonio, Texas, where the dogs are located. The dog cannot be shipped to you, and you may need to make multiple visits. There are no same-day adoptions. This is some serious business, getting these dogs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, remember, this is the TSA. These are people who pat you down and then take you through the things. They're not just going to hand you a dog, right? They're going to spend some time interrogating you. Could you imagine if they gave the dog to a family that wasn't a good family, and the media would go bananas over that? They would.
They would just lose their minds.
They would.
So if you're thinking about getting a dog, we were actually having this conversation last night at dinner that there are dogs out there that can cost like $3,000 for a dog.
Yeah, the purebred, flu dog.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, $3,000 for a dog? Our shelters are full of great dogs. And like these dogs, adopting one of these well-trained dogs, I think it should be considered as well. You got to go in and meet the dogs. They help you select the right dog, and, all of that. Something to think about.
Definitely. So I know we just have a couple minutes left, and this is a little bit of a heavy story, so I'll just kind of tease it today because I think we'll get to hear this one in more detail as the clock ticks closer. But apparently President Trump is warning that there might be a government shutdown next month over border security. And I think he's looking at the incoming Congress and saying, my whole agenda is going to be stalled, and if I'm going to get that wall that I promised people, it has to happen now. And so he's ready and willing to push it to the limit. But from past example, shutdowns don't work, and I just don't know where he goes from here. Especially because they know that in January they're going to have a Democratic majority. So I just don't know that this is a smart play.
I don't know. I think it might be. And I say this because this wall of humanity is still coming to the border, and it started to reach Tijuana, and people are, this isn't just a couple of people. This isn't just families. It's it's thousands of people who are rushing the wall right now.
Yeah.
And I think people are fearful of that. So, we'll see what happens. I think that it really depends on how he handles it. Of course, this is the president who can be a little compulsive about, what he says. I mean, if he has a thought in his head, it comes out of his mouth. So it really depends on how he handles it.
Yeah.
But if he handles it correctly, then I think it might be good for him.
Interesting. I think it's going to be more hurtful for the political life of Republicans and for this president if they do it. But
well, and I have to say this one last thing before. Well, no, I guess we have another minute. The court case, this federal judge who said, and you and I have talked about this, the federal judge who put the kibosh on how the president does his asylum. He said that you can't apply for asylum if you enter the country illegally. I really think that if there's a time to stand up against this rogue justices or rogue judges, now is the time. Yeah. I think now is the time for the president to say, you don't have the power to make me do that. That's not part of what you can do, you circuit judge.
Yeah. So you're advocating 2 more years of fighting in chaos because that's what we need?
If it comes to, I'm advocating for each branch of government to take what is theirs.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that this federal judge had the power to do what the federal judge did. And
I think it's clear. I think it's clear that the people that sued didn't have standing to sue.
Exactly. And I think the president can push back and say
the case should be just kicked out.
Okay, but I think the president should say, I'm not following your law. You are not following your ruling because I think it was a bad ruling.
Yeah.
So, we don't want imperialist judges. We don't want an imperialist president. We do not want an imperialist legislative branch. And the only way that you prevent that from happening is for one side to say stop.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needs to happen.
Interesting.
So it's not that I'm advocating for it, like go do it, but I wouldn't be sad if it did happen.
I'm going to make T-shirts that say Aaron likes chaos.
I do not.
Chaos and dissension.
Oh, my gosh. All right. We're at the end of our show for today. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
You sure about that?
Yes.
And we are on the Break the Morning Show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm Chuck Kamlick, CNBC. Not many people on Wall Street today. They're either recovering from the big dinner or from shopping, or maybe both. If you're looking for some good deals on stocks, you may be in luck today. Dow futures down about 130 points. Amazon says Black Friday shopping in the UK is already